it'll be good to just reflect on the point that you made earlier on around the partnerships and the relationships and how difficult sometimes they are. And it doesn't mean that sometimes when there are those difficulties that the partnerships either don't exist or that they are not worthy of trying. I mean, just historically, and we're talking about the history between the collaboration between mining sector and government. I mean, I recall in the earlier days, 1998, when the program called the Deep Mining Research was launched. And that was a collaboration between government and the private sector. And it was almost all the mining houses that were involved. And the CSIR was at the center of coordinating and implementing the project. That was one of the projects that I think for me showed that partnerships can indeed work. Because that one was about focusing on acquiring knowledge and appropriate technologies for new alternative driven mines, at training and development, establishing a culture of innovation in the mining sector. So it worked very well. 1999, I think a year later, we had another one called Coaltech, which was focusing on development of technologies in the coal mine. Same approach. Governments put money, the private sector, through relevant mining houses put the money, and the CSIR leads the research work. And our partnership has been about resuscitating and modernizing mining. And we also wanted to move away from just this thing of talking about partnership, but saying, what are you actually doing to establish that partnership? And that has been about saying the private sector invests and we invest. So this is a partnership beyond just us writing or talking about, but it is us really putting in our own resources to show that these partnerships can work. Will there be gaps? Yes, there will be, and there currently are gaps. But we just think that the fact that this partnership does exist just shows that we can always work to iron out whatever challenges there is. So as a department, we are pretty much focused in ensuring that that partnership will happen. And the last point is that we make it happen by bringing on board all our entities in a very choreographed manner. So you're going to see in R&D, it's going to be universities that work with the CSIR, funding innovation and commercialization, the Technology Innovation Agency. We're going to look at the Space Agency in terms of just the overall Earth observations into that, and other entities that are not necessarily within the DSTI stores, like the Council for Geoscience and the MINTEC, that are also part of this whole value chain of minerals beneficiations. So I think I'll just stop it at that. But the partnerships are really what we are driving. We can't do anything without those partnerships, and the department has realized it.
You make a good point that partnerships don't necessarily have to mean the way I heard you say it. We don't have to like each other to work together. And so given that you mentioned your partner, the Minerals Council, Mustak, I'm going to come to you. So historically, South Africa has led in the expertise in mining, but most of the partnerships centered around the mechanical side, the technical side, the how do we drill a hole side for the least possible cost. But if you look at the future of mining, there's going to have to be partnerships around AI, around decarbonization, around social justice, around the green transition.
I think, Julie, I just want to latch on to the previous doctor's sentiment about, in terms of how do you work with someone that you really not or do not have an affinity with. On a lighter note, I just want to say, recently, the whole leadership team of the Minerals Council went through a session on how to collaborate with the enemy. Enemy not necessarily implying an enemy. And if you get the time and you want some light reading, I would encourage you. I don't have rights or commissions. It's a model that's structured by Adam Kahane. And if you're really interested in creating collaborations, I would encourage you to look at those kind of models. But coming back to the question that you said, is that how bold are we? And I think it's always within context about how bold you can be. And I'm going to break it down maybe in just a couple of granular kind of levels. So if we are collaborating around a new methodology of extraction that's going to be efficient, effective, give us access to rich ore body, you perhaps would battle a bit to get that collaboration right. Because obviously those that are in the same commodities are competing with each other as well. However, if I turn around and say, okay, fine, we want to collaborate, and that's my area of expertise as well, we want to collaborate with skills development and programs that's going to give foundational education, training, and capability to the people working within mining. I may be able to assemble that grouping for collaboration much more easier. I must say at the Mandela Mining Precinct, that's the whole premise from which we established this partnership. To say, okay, fine, between science, innovation, and research and the industry, which is the Minerals Council, how do we start addressing these challenges and put the players together? And as I said, the Minerals Council is in a neutral position to be able to do that kind of areas. Skills for our common future. If we know that, hang on, in terms of mining engineers, mechanical engineers, artisans, technicians, operators, we need to make sure that the curricula for training incorporates those kind of aspects in the training and development. We are able to pull together our membership. We're able to pull together role players, whether it be from science and technology, whether it be from Department of Higher Education and Training, and say, okay, fine, what do we need to bring into these kind of aspects? I'll give you another example. Vaal Gamagara and the water project. I mean, massive need for it. You need to install this kind of capability in the water infrastructure and what have you. We know it's for the greater good of the country. We have our members and the companies and the various role players coming together and driving that collaboration